Okay, what have we got next? I gotta say, I'm loving doing this. This is so much fun. So I am bringing to you a stack of different mixed media products that you can essentially create a watercolor look with. You can go as light as you like or as heavy as you like. And to show you that I am not brand obsessed, I will show you that I have super cheap and cheerful Aldi products right through to Ranger and $50 for pencils. So let me show you what I've got. When it comes to creating layouts, I'm going to show you the products that I use. I'm going to show you a few layouts first. So this particular layout, just because you're using mixed media does not necessarily mean that you have to go bold and bright. You can do neutrals. So I wanted to draw your attention to that first. Just because the products look like they're all bright, it doesn't have to be. So I've added some texture paste here. I've used some, I think that's Distress Oxide ink. I think that is tea-dye from memory, bit of bundled sage, something like that. So you can create a nice mellow look with mixed media, but you can also go kind of crazy and go over the top. This is some Vicky Bouton papers, and I've gone with some really bright, bold Distress Oxides in the back. I think they might be oxide sprays, actually. Yeah, so super bold and bright. And then you've got something like this where I used Distress Oxide ink. Sorry, correction. I used Distress ink and I used Lindy's Magicals on this particular layout along with glossy accents. So 3 completely different looks, all using the same techniques that I'm going to show you here using these products. So you can create all of these looks by using these products. Super simple. I'm trying to break down the barrier of it's really hard. I don't know where to start. I don't know what product to use. I don't know if I'm going to get a good result. Now, let's start with ink. Okay, Distress ink. Ink is going to give you this look. These all have videos if you're new to my channel and you don't know that I do process videos. So this is Distress ink. That's what I used for this layout. So this is the look you will get with these lines with Distress ink. To create this look, I used the small 1-inch ink pads. I turned them on their side and I created lines. It was that easy. It's not difficult. Honestly, I promise you, if it's difficult, I will tell you that, it's a little bit harder to get this result, but practice makes perfect or something like that. But this one, dead easy. This one, these are the Aldi watercolor watercolor brush ink markers. They are filled in here with liquid. I do have another couple of sets over there. They are filled with liquid and it is watercolor ink and it is bright, sister. Let me tell you, it is crazy bright. You get color payoff like there's no tomorrow. They did have these for sale again this year in Aldi stores. So I believe this is an Aldi brand. So therefore, they will come around again. So they are fantastic. You can add water to them. You can dilute the daylights out of them right down to almost no color, but they are really, really good. There are more expensive brands of watercolor brush markers, but I wanted to try them out cheaply first to see if I'd actually use them and how often would I use them. To be honest, I do a lot of scrapbooking and a lot of mixed media and they work perfectly for me. I don't feel the need to go and buy an expensive set. Then we have this watercolor set. This is also Aldi and it gets stuck in the box every single time I go to get it out. I can't get it out. It is a super simple travel watercolor set. and it is this easy. You simply slide the little windows open. To tell you that this stuff is pigmented, you got no clue. I'm actually going to try and do this super fast for you. Give me some cardstock. I do have some over here that I've used both sides. It's okay. If you're watching these in succession, here's one I prepared earlier. Now, this is literally like, this is just straight from water. There's no, that's all I've put on there. And this is probably like a cadmium blue. So once the water gets into it a little bit, this is how bold and bright they are. Check that out. It is insane color payoff. And this is, I'm just using a really fine brush here. So it's not, sorry, I'll lift it up a little bit. So it's not adding a lot of water to that. That is super, super bold. I think these are really good for dollar value. They literally go, this is just on normal cardstock, by the way. It's not watercolor cardstock, so it's going to peel a little bit, but they are fantastic. When these come up, if you want to have a little bit of a dabble, they have a really, really good broad color range. I know it looks difficult to see on the camera. It's hard. These ones are quite dark, obviously all the browns and neutrals, but I've played with these and they are fantastic. They really are. So, and they're a good little travel thing. So if you're going on a scrap retreat and you want to take some mixed media with you, they're a dry product. They're not going to spill on your album. You know, you can go for it. And yeah, it did come with a watercolor brush. It came with one of these brushes as well. So, which is good. Next, what will I show you next? You've already seen, so these are just watercolor palettes. I used this before, that's why one's wet. And these ones are just, I call them cheap and cheerful. I got that saying from Natasha Foote, actually. That I haven't coined that. That's not mine, but I do like the idea of cheap and cheerful. So you've got your Montmartre products. So you've got the half pans, watercolor. These are great. These have great color payoff as well. You may want to see this, so I'm just going to dip in. Actually, I'll dip in with the same brush, the same amount of water that I had before on my brush, so you can see watercolor wise. Probably need a tiny bit more water. So these have really good color payoff. So if this is something that you want to, now you may not want to paint as such, but you can also put it onto a bit of plastic. I'm going to use a slightly larger brush so it doesn't take so long for me to get some color. So as I said before, these watercolor brushes, the reason they're really good is because they hold everything in there. So you might want to do the kissing technique where you just turn it over, and some people call it the packaging technique, some people call it the kissing technique. I call it the kissing technique when it's going like that and you're just spreading the packaging all around. That to me is kissing, because see, you end up with a run in it. For me, when I'm doing anything, I like to keep my packaging, I actually have one here, I like to wrinkle up my packaging like that. So when I put the color on it, I get speckles rather than, I'm not working on a level surface here. See, I get speckles. So if you crunch up your plastic, you will get speckles like that. If you keep it flat and do the kissing technique, you'll get that. So that's just two different techniques. And with cheap and cheerful watercolor paints, I haven't even got to the expensive juicy stuff. So they are, this one's really good because it gives you a broader amount of color, which is really good, having the two trays. And I think it was only in the $15 range. It wasn't expensive. So, and I will put the lid on that later to save your ears. This one is a pearlescent paint palette, and it is fantastic. It has really good color payoff as well. I'm showing you the color payoff, so this video will go a few minutes longer than the others, because I think it's important when you're trying to make a decision on dabbling with some stuff like this that you have a look at it and you can actually see it. I think that's important. So that's the shiny sheen. When that dries, all that mica powder will shimmer and shine, and you can get it there. That's not the water, that's the shimmer and shine. So that one's fantastic. Again, that one is from, I got that one from Spotlight for like $5.99. So far, none of these have been expensive. Okay, so not a massive outlay. Apologies for the clunking in the microphone. I'm so sorry. Then you get down to these watercolors. Now, I'm actually going to... Will I keep going? Do you want me to just keep going with this one? I think I will. I'll just keep going so that you get it all in one video. Now, I'm going to show you... you have the watercolor crayons. Now, these are really cool. These are Distress. This is a Distress line. Again, can Tim Holtz do no wrong? I mean, this stuff is fantastic. You simply draw your color down. I'm sticking with all the blues, just consistency, I suppose. And then you add a little bit of water to it. You can either do the kissing technique, or you can just do it with your paint. I'm just going to do this because it's easy. So you can see with the kissing technique, it's just soaking into. Now, because this is not watercolor card, if I just leave that there for a few seconds, I'm going to end up it's soaking into the cardstock. So I'm going to get a more even coverage. So there. So that's my more... So that's the watercolor crayons. Now, they are a little bit... They're not as pigmented. Well, they are pigmented, but you get a different color payoff. All of these mediums, it depends what you're after. All of these really bright ones, you can dilute them down, and that's something I look for. I love these. I do love them. They're a nice creamy texture. Next, I will show you, I have got multiple colors of watercolor pencils, because I wanted to test them all to see if I was going to tell you what to buy, which ones would I tell you to buy. These ones are the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. The watercolor is great. I find it's fantastic. I'm going to very quickly show you what I'm doing with it. I'll stick with the blue colors. Okay, let me find the dark blue. Okay, so you've got the dark blue. Now, when it comes to watercolors, sorry, I'm down here. When it comes to the watercolors, these particular ones, this is how I like to use them. It's a little bit different, but I wet the tip and then I get the color payoff. So that's what I have always done with the Faber-Castell ones. And because they're a wood pencil, and they give me the color payoff. So you can see that I'm getting a good color there. I can continue to touch it if I want to. I can flick it. I can get lots of splits and splats everywhere. So I think it's a nice pencil. They really are nice pencils. You can get quite the color payoff there. Now, try not to put back a wet pencil into a container. So that's the Faber-Castell one, right? I think it's great. I love it. It's really good. For the money, it was good. It was only about $30, I think, for that set. It wasn't too bad. It did make me cringe a little. Don't worry. Yeah, I did cringe because you know I'm a Scrooge. But it goes forever. Oh, I just tapped the microphone. I'm so sorry. Okay. I will show you here. Oh, I've actually got one there. Do I need to do another? There's the cobalt blue. I will do another one just to show you because in all fairness, blah, blah, blah. Where am I? Let me see. This one, that looks pretty blue. I'm going to do the same technique that I did with this one, just to show you. Now, this is the Aldi coloured marker, coloured pencil, watercolour pencil. I have found that this one is fantastic. It has good colour payoff. If you're not in the money for expensive watercolour pencils and you can get your hands on these ones, they are fantastic. I think they work just as well, and you can use them the same as what I did the Faber-Castell one. This is the dark blue in this range, and I think it's fine. So it's completely your call which one you prefer the color of. So I will pop that one down. So they are your, what I would have considered to be the high-end watercolor pencil, right? And then we pull out Mr. Tim Holtz. This is where you meet your maker, right? This is, which one will we do? Prized ribbon. Let's do prized ribbon. So there's 3 containers. There's 3 separate packs, so you can buy them individually. I've put them into rainbow order, so I've mixed them up a little bit. Let's do prized ribbon. So these ones are a little bit different. I'm going to use the exact same technique though that I've used for the other 2 in complete fairness for you. So there is no color payoff in my paper, whatever you want to call it, my paintbrush. So I'm just doing exactly what I did to the others. But what you will notice very, very quickly is the amount of color and color saturation, the pigment. These do not have wood around them, so the entire pencil is pigment. So you are paying for every skerrick of this pencil. So this is, I'm dripping now. Okay, these ones are really, really soft, and you don't need to touch them nearly as long as the other ones. It's just a much I don't even know how to say it. It's not bright. It's a creamier texture, and it is divine to play with. I absolutely love it. So there you go. Letting you know. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just had my daughter come in and give me a sandwich. Fantastic. So that one there is absolutely magic. I love that color. Distress watercolor pencils to me are, they're as top of the line as I would go for a scrapbooking side of things. So I know this video was a little bit longer, guys, but I think it was important to show you all the different shades. Does it matter if you've spent $5? Does it matter if you've spent $30? Totally up to you. You purchase what you prefer. And I absolutely love my Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. Ranger has done it again. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will chat to you again in the next video. Bye for now.